AutoCAD is a very customizable program. The amount of flexibility we have can easily be seen in the sheer number of user preferences that are available. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to change the way AutoCAD behaves. Now, I've got a drawing open on my screen. I don't expect you to open the same drawing. This is merely here as a visual representation, so just play along with me for a second. If I'd like to adjust my AutoCAD user preferences, I need to bring up the Options dialog box. One way I can do that is by right-clicking in the middle of my screen, and at the very bottom of the menu I can select Options. This brings up a very large dialog box that gives me access to literally hundreds of AutoCAD preferences that are divided up onto these tabs. Now, we're certainly not going to go through all of these settings. I'm going to show you a couple, give you an idea of how they work, and then I'm going to show you how you can get information to explain what the other settings do for you. First things first, let's take a look at an example. I'm going to come down and set my Display tab current. Notice that each tab is divided up into named groups. This makes the settings a little bit easier to find. If we look in the Window Elements group, notice I have a checkbox called Display Scroll Bars in Drawing Window. I'm going to click to put a check in the box, and then I'm going to come down and click Apply. When I do, watch my model space. Notice as soon as I clicked Apply, I now have scroll bars in my drawing window. Now, in reality, scroll bars really aren't necessary anymore. There are better ways to adjust our view. So I'm going to turn these back off. Let me remove the check from the box by clicking on it, and then I'll come down and click Apply one more time. As long as we're here, there is one setting that I would like you to change for the duration of this title, and that involves the background color of model space. Let me click and hold on the top of my dialog box, and I'll drag this guy down so we can see the drawing. Notice that currently my model space background is set to white. Now, in the old days, model space was always black, and truthfully, black gives us a much better contrast between our background and the colors of our line work. Notice I've got some boxes on my screen, and I've set these guys to the 7 or 8 standard Windows colors that we have. Notice that the yellow is very hard to read on the white background. Let's set our model space back to black and see if this guy's a little bit easier on our eyes. To do that, I'm going to click and drag this dialog box back to the middle of my screen. And once again, this is a display issue, so I'm going to be on the Display tab. And in the Window Elements area, I'm going to come down and click the Colors button. This brings up a dialog box that allows me to adjust the colors of my interface items. Now, fortunately, by default, 2D model space and uniform background happen to already be selected. So I'm going to come over to the Color area and click the flyout, and I'm going to select Black and Apply and Close. Once again, we'll move up and grab the top of the dialog box, click, hold, and drag him down, and notice that my layers are much easier to see on a black background. This honestly is the way I prefer to work. Now that you know how to change it, you can experiment with other model space background colors if you like. But for the rest of the title, I'm going to be using a black model space background. Once again, I'm going to drag the dialog box back to the middle of the screen. Let me show you where you can go if you want information about what the rest of these settings do for us. Notice AutoCAD brings up a small paragraph that explains to me exactly what that guy does. How about arc and circle smoothness? Once again, I will just hover and AutoCAD gives me the information. In fact, these little pop-up paragraphs are a user preference themselves. Take a look at this. In the Window Elements area, I've got an option that says Show Tooltips. If I uncheck this and click Apply, that will turn off the additional information. Now, since we're just starting out, this information can be helpful, so I'm going to turn this back on and click Apply, and then we'll click OK to dismiss the dialog box. At first glance, the Options dialog box may seem a little intimidating. However, as you continue to use the software, you'll begin to recognize the relationship between the commands, the interface, and your user preferences. Soon, changing your settings will become second nature.